Okay, those are some ideas coming in for you. We have two more guests joining in now. SP Tulsian and Mayuresh Joshi of Angel Broking are with us. So we'll get some fundamental strategies going. Mayuresh, morning. Let me start off with you. It was a howler from Crompton Greaves this time around. A loss of 100 crores is what they reported. How would you approach that stock now?
Morning, Sonia. Now, clearly, I think the numbers were very, very disappointing. So clearly, I think the stock is going to open in a very negative fashion. Clearly, I think the expectations that are probably getting laid out, the stock is probably not meeting those expectations. So clearly, I think in terms of both a growth in terms of how the margin expansion will happen or how the bottom line will pan out, I think analysts probably are running a little bit out of patience because I think a few quarters down the line, one really expected the performance to improve. But with conditions probably that are ensuing at the current juncture, both on the domestic side as well as globally, I think the pain in the stock in terms of a core operating performance will still continue, whether it's the domestic performance or its overseas subsidiaries. So clearly, I think the stock will underperform from a medium-term perspective.
Mr. Tulsian, what about you?
See, the very bad numbers, and apart from, let's not see only on the Q3 numbers, sometimes, what we see, Sonia, that, take the case of Consumer Gland. We have always been taking that as a big, cushion for the company that they will monetize that land. You have seen that monetized, gain of 410 crore. But that 410 crore has entirely been used to write off the loans given to a subsidiary of 400 crore. So sometimes you wonder that whether can you really fall back on these kind of assets, number one. Number two, if you see the consumer product division, I agree that the High Court order, the High Court order came in the last week of November and they are filing with Registrar of Company on 31st December. I am unable to understand why there was a time lag of 5 weeks, number one. Number two, the effect has been given from 1st October. I agree that it has been hived off, the appointed date being 1st October 2015, but you have not seen the consumer product division anywhere, reflected in this, merely saying that consumer product divisions have been hived off. Now go by the stock exchange ruling. Share has not gone ex restructuring now. The shareholders haven't got, suppose take for instance, if I am a shareholder of Crompton Greaves, I ought to know that what is the performance of your consumer product division. Does it mean they will say that, okay, wait for the restructuring to happen, you wait for the shares to get, and see the consumer product division fate also, the continuous decline in the performance of that company also. Q2 they had about, Q1 they had about 1000 crore top line, EBIT of 100 crores. Q2 they had top line of 800 crore. I am referring the consumer product division, which is not reflected in this Q3 numbers. Q2 had a top line of 800 crore, EBIT of 80 crores. That means continuously on a sequential basis, we have been seeing a fall of 12 to 15% in the consumer product division. So ultimately, the share which is now ruling come restructuring will we will hive off some of the value to consumer product division also as and when the restructuring will happen. So maybe as a footnote, they should have given the performance of consumer product division also and the timeline that when they are going to see. Now come on their core business of power system, horrible numbers, whether you see on the domestic front or you see on the consolidated front. They are not finding buyer for their power systems, which they did a big mistake, by acquiring, going very aggressive in the 2007, and they are not able to sell and get out of that power system business because all along you always had comfort on the standalone numbers of the company. So these are many things, and apart from the massive executive organization restructuring which we have been seeing happening, in one go in many of the divisions. So there are, apart from the financial results, I think that the company is really going. Now take the case of, our channel only broke a story that they are looking to monetize the Crompton Greaves Prabhadevi headquarter also. Tomorrow you may see, okay, that property 1000 crore, but you have 1000 crore skeletons in the form of the bad loans given to subsidiary, which you will write off in one quarter. So there are lack of corporate governance, disclosure, and so many things. So bad results and all these issues which I have referred to.
Okay. Well, that stock anyway has been going from weakness to weakness. We have a management joining us, Mr. Chandra Kumar Dhanuka, the Managing Director of Dhanseri Tea, joins us now. The numbers looked good.
But good numbers coming in from the company, and they expect a 10 to 15% growth in top line by the end of the year, and margins will hold at this 32% mark that they've clocked in the 9 months of FY16. But let's get back to the markets now. Anuj is with us. He'll give us some of the key trends that he's noticed in the derivatives market today. Anuj.
Well, Sonia, yes, so there's quite a bit of put buying which was visible at 7200 strike. So that's something to watch out for. Net selling of 390 crores in stock futures is again something, that I'll be watching out for. That's telling you that maybe there's when you see this kind of selling in stock futures when the series is nascent, that's not a good sign for mid caps, and that's what you saw yesterday. Quite a bit of selling in mid caps as well. fresh shorts in stocks like NTPC, Torrent Pharma, Amara Raja, JSW Steel, SAIL, Aurobindo Pharma. So these are stocks to watch out for. Some fresh buying in stocks like Mindtree and United Breweries as well.
Fresh shots in Torrent Pharma after those very good numbers. Well, we have to discuss all that with our guests. We'll do one thing. We'll take a quick break and then expert joining us to give us some strategies. Back in a jiffy.
Renault Passion for Life presents Headlines of the Day. Brought to you by Renault Passion for Life.
Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. We have 5 minutes before we get the pre-opening rates on the screen. Today is a very tough day for global markets. So if you look at what's happening with Japan, for example, 550 points gone. So the expectation is that our markets will also follow suit, something that we saw yesterday. But let's get back to talking about some of the stocks that came out with their numbers. Mr. Tulsian, United Breweries, very strong set of earnings coming in this time. How did you read into it, and what would your view be on how investors should approach the stock?
See, Sonia, that's right. Very good numbers. In fact, if you see operating profit risen from 90 crores to 122 crores. And if you see the best part is that share is now ruling at its lower end. If you recall, it used to rule at about maybe 950 plus and all that. And now the share is ruling at 800. So I don't think that there is further downside seen from here. And if you see going forward, always, Q1, I'm not saying that March quarter, but generally Q1 and Q2 are always of the calendar year. I'm talking that is March quarter and June quarters are always the best. So if you have this kind of performance coming in with 9 months EPS of seen at around rupees 9.20, so I think that the better working way is going to be seen in the next couple of quarters also. And 800, one should not go by the technicals of the market. You may see the stock correcting also by way of some fresh selling or maybe profit booking and all that, but this stock looks quite good from investment perspective with a view of about couple of months.
Okay, we should be getting our earnings Pataka presentation in just a minute. There are some interesting numbers that Varinder is watching out for. Okay, Varinder, over to you. What is that number that stood out for you?
Well, Lata, glad to say that the earnings Pataka this time are two companies which actually featured last time as well. So it's good to see the performance coming in from both the companies. The first one, of course, is Torrent Power. the way this company has been reporting numbers consecutive quarter is just amazing. The top line was up 20%, EBITDA was up 65%, EBITDA margins stood at 31.2% compared to 22.4%, and the bottom line was up 5 times at 372 crores versus only 70 crores. And of course, the revenue growth was led by the Dahej and Unisogen reporting average PLF of 35%. The reason why I'm talking about this stock is that even if you go by the estimates of Ambit, they were thinking that the company will report a margin of 25.5%, and they beat that to 31%. So it's 500 basis point even more than what Ambit was estimating. Even on the EBITDA front, the absolute number, Ambit was thinking nearly 800 crores, but the company reported 943 crores. Look at this, 9-month profit for this company is 940 crores compared to FY15 entire profit of only 360 crores. So, clearly very good set of numbers coming from this company. And the second one is Minda Industries. Again, this company was featured last time as well, and look at these numbers. The consolidated net profit is up 123% for Minda Industries. Total income is up 13%. The EBITDA for this company is up 46%, and the margins improved to 9.5% compared to 7.3%. Again, if you just see the 9-month profit for this company is nearly 69 crores, which is higher than what the company reported in the last full financial year, that is FY15, which was nearly 68 crores. And 9-month EPS for this company is 43 rupees. So on the valuation front, also good. But both the companies reporting solid set of numbers for the second consecutive quarter.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Varinder. The BOJ governor is trying to talk up the market with the comment that the reaction to China is excessive. But okay, Minda and Torrent, if we have a minute more before the pre-opening, Mr. Tulsian, are they value for money?
Yes, definitely, because as Varinder has explained, in fact, I go for Torrent Power more on a sequential basis. And if you see on a sequential basis also, the company has shown a growth of almost 50%. The PAT of 372 crore against PAT of 245 crore on a sequential basis. Similar is the case with Minda Industries also. If you see for Minda Industries again, 43 rupees EPS of FY15 has already been seen in 9 months of FY16. So again, a growth of about 35%. So, but apart from that, I think the other results which I liked is one is Awadh Sugar. They have posted excellent numbers with EPS of 4 rupees, and if you see the dramatic turnaround in the sugar division, sugar EBIT has been at about 13 crore against 6 crore on a quarterly basis. And apart from that, Amara Raja has posted good numbers, DCM Shriram has posted good numbers, Uflex has posted good numbers, OCL have posted good numbers. So these are again, or maybe RPG Life Sciences, because these are the small stocks which have all posted very good numbers. So one can keep an eye on all these stocks as well. Yeah.
Did you look at? All right. I think there are only 10 seconds for the markets to open, so we'll come back to you with more questions. Just pull up the SGX Nifty. We should be prepared for a bit of red on the screen, but you never know with the pre-opening rates, of course. That's the SGX Nifty indicating a 1% downtick, almost 0.9. But that will keep company with almost all the Asian markets. There's hardly anything that's less than 1% in the red, and some of them are fairly deeply in the red, like the Hang Seng, the Nikkei, and the Shanghai indices. So it's a pretty bad cut that one should be prepared for. Crompton Greaves is starting the show with a rather bad number, about a 10% downtick. DLF is still not showing red, but I guess you have to just allow it to settle down. United Breweries, it's good of our station director show us this, 7.7% higher. So something to cheer, the cup that cheers this one. The indices meanwhile are moving a marginal shade of red, about 0.1%, 0.2% at this juncture, 0.4 for the Nifty, but you should expect deep cuts. And now the banks have started doing the job for them. PNB, Yes Bank, Bank of Baroda, all of them showing a fairly deep red. The rupee is slightly more expensive. The dollar is slightly more expensive. Actually, it started at 68 and now it's gone to 68.7. Okay, 68.20. That's about 35 pice more expensive dollar. Actually, across the board, the Malaysian ringgit, the Korean won have all shown weakness. What we are seeing is equity weakness and therefore currency weakness, and bonds being preferred, especially developed country bonds. So you saw a sharp fall in US yields, and in emerging markets, currencies, bonds, stocks, all of them are falling. And now it's a 35 pips more expensive dollar that you have. Rupee down 0.5%, and that's the strongest performer in Asia, which is down about 0.5%. That should be on expected lines. But Nifty in a bad spot, 0.5% down as I speak.
Oh yes, the Nifty is mirroring what we saw yesterday from the market, but just a couple of more stocks. Crompton Greaves is getting thrashed right now because of the very weak performance that the company has reported. So 10% downtick is what you're seeing on Crompton Greaves. On the upside, Torrent Power is up almost 4% on the back of good set of numbers coming in. Oud Sugar, a stock that we were talking about earlier, very good numbers, a profit of 12.5 crores versus a loss of 24 crores. So Oud Sugar in pre-opening is up 20%. Let's see how that plays out. And United Breweries, Minda Industries as well, a couple of other stocks that are looking quite good, post a good set of numbers. So it'll be all about individual stock specific action. But in the meantime, let's do one thing. We were talking about the Auto Expo that has kicked off. CNBC TV18's Ronojoy Banerjee is in conversation with Kenichi Ayukawa, who is the MD and CEO of Maruti Suzuki. So let's cut across and listen in.
Okay, we'll continue to get you conversations, but for the moment, let's just look at the markets. The Nifty is now down 0.6, so not a very pretty picture at all. Crompton Greaves down 10%, that's the worst performer. Let's get some F&O strategies going as well. Amit Gupta of ICICI joins us. Amit, your Nifty strategy?
See, definitely the pressure is there, but 73.50 is one hope. Possibly some recovery may be seen if Nifty comes to that level. Because if you look at the last expiry, in the expiry week we had seen the highest put base was formed around 74, and in this particular series also 7400 put still is the highest put base. Yesterday we have seen some buying happening in 72 put, but I will give weightage to that only if 73.50 is taken out. If you look at the FII's action in the market, they were buying index options in the last few sessions, and around 4,200 crores of index option buying they have done. If you look at primarily whenever such a high figure comes in index options, that is more into the put side, because either they hedge their portfolios because we have an event of budget coming up, so possibly they were hedging their positions, or they are going speculative short. So that buying was seen somewhere around 74 put options, and we have already fallen in the last two sessions including today. So if you look at the volume weighted average price, that is play of the last series, that was placed around 7,500. So, and last series we had a one-way fall. So the major chunk of short volumes have happened around 7,500 levels around. So till Nifty is not recovering above that level, you can see some kind of selling continued in the mid caps, because that is one segment that is falling more now than the index, because the index has already done its part. So my sense is that 73.50 to 75 may be the range, and if we are able to recover above 7,500, then we should start looking into the stock specific long positions. Otherwise remain there with little bit of defensive piece for the time being.
Okay, well, it doesn't look good at all in pre-opening. 7,400 could break, and remember the next level to watch is the 72.50 level, which was the recent lows that we hit. So Darshan, what's the sense you're getting about the market itself? Do you get a feeling that in the early part of the February series we could scale down to that 7,200 level, or will we find a floor somewhere around here?
Well, it's anybody's guess. I can only get a sense that we should be on the short side of the market. 7,400 was a level below which short positions should be built. That's much easier to say than to anticipate where the markets will go.
Okay, that's true. Mayuresh, good morning to you as well. In this bunch of numbers that came over the last 48 hours, anything stood out for you?
Morning, Lata. Yes, I think clearly Minda Industries numbers were exceptionally good in our opinion, and we had covered the stock before the start of the Q2 numbers for Minda. So again, I think the overseas subsidiaries are doing pretty well. The domestic performance has been quite reasonable. So Minda's performance has been exceptional. Again, Amara Raja, in my opinion, and we discussed this a couple of days back, our own take is that with the kind of performance it has shown in the top line, specifically with the volume growth that it is probably achieving, both on the OEM side as well as on the industrial side, with excellent capacity additions probably happening over the past few quarters, you're probably going to see the valuation premiums that Amara enjoys probably surpass Exide. So I think Exide trades at a discount, but again I think there are justifications why Amara is trading at a huge premium, clearly in terms of how their top line is growing, how the operational performance has been, and the common factor probably is that the lead prices are down. So clearly I think if you look at the benefits of lead prices coming through to both these guys, I think Amara is in a much better position, because even the OEM guys have now a multi-vendor strategy. So clearly Amara benefits on the OEM side as well. So clearly I think Amara is something that came out with a good set of numbers and we remain optimistic on that stock.
Okay, another stock that you like for the longer term is Rane Brake Lining. What kind of target do you have for, say, 6 to 12 months?
So clearly, Sonia, I think as the name suggests, the company is in brake linings and disc pads. And if you look at the operational performance for the quarter gone by, it was an exceptional performance again. So clearly it exceeded our expectations in both of how the top line performed, how the EBITDA margin was, and even how the bottom line panned out. So a 10% top line growth to that 111 crore mark, I think was much better than what we had anticipated. With fallen input prices, the EBITDA margin came way ahead of our expectations at 14.5 crores. And even the bottom line, the performance was quite good. So 10 crores is what they performed against expectations of 8.9 crores that we had. So clearly I think the company is in a leadership positions when it comes to the OEM side, whether it's the PV or the MHCV segment. You're clearly seeing a clear rebound happening on the MHCV part, both in terms of how volumes are panning out and expectations of volume growth in double for the better part of FY16. So I think that benefit will definitely get passed on because of its leadership positions. On the replacement side, again, specifically the organized segment, Rane Brake Linings has a market leadership position as well. So clearly I think both these segments are working in tandem for Rane Brake Linings. And our own expectations over the next 2 years is a top line CAGR of around 10 to 12%, which effectively means that you're looking at a top line of around 511, 520 odd crores by FY17. We're probably looking at margins anywhere between 12 to 13%. So clearly I think an EPS of 31 rupees is something that we're probably working out with. And again, I think if you give a 15 times multiple on FY17 numbers, you're probably looking at a target price of 465 over the next 9 to 12 months.
Okay, in these days when it's so difficult to preserve capital, it's good to hear of a 30% price growth that you are seeing in Rane Brakes. Running out of time for the market opening, Mr. Tulsian, a more general question to you. Sugar and tea stocks generally have done well. Is there any sugar stock or set of sugar stocks that you will actually recommend as buying?
See, Lata, actually for tea stocks, all the tea stocks we are going to show good numbers for Q3, but we have to keep an eye on Q4, which will show the equal kind of losses. So don't get too enthused with 9 months performance that the same can get extrapolated. In fact, 1 quarter profits can get deleted from those numbers. That is the situation on the tea front. Come on the sugar. If you see the situation prevailing in the UP states, the best part is that majority of the mills are having a higher recovery by about closer to 1%. And that is the biggest advantage. And as such, the realizations are quite better in UP. They always fetch 1 to 1 rupee 50 paisa higher per kg than the other situations. And if you see the sugarcane prices also having fixed at 280 per quintal against 285 fixed by the Tamil Nadu or the situation prevailing in Karnataka and all that, they are not seen in a vulnerable position. And whatever results we have seen till now, maybe till this date, maybe this looking from DCM, Shriram or Triveni, actually the best is not yet reflected into the performance, because they have started the season in the middle of November, so they just sold the inventory. And if you see, the prices of the sugar have risen from 27 rupees per kg in the end of November to about 31 rupees 50 paise per kg now. I'm talking in the situation in UP, not in other parts of the country where it rules about 1 rupee 50 paise lower. So I think the best is yet to come from sugar for the March quarter and for June quarter. The season of the crushing season is likely to last till end of April. We are going to see the shortage of production, of the sugar than what was estimated for this season. People have already started talking of country likely to import sugar for the next year. This looks bizarre to me. That
so your best buys would be UP companies.
Only UP companies, and if just wants to focus on the companies, maybe Awadh Sugar, which they have shown excellent results from a negative 30 rupees EPS on an annualized basis to 4 rupees EPS. That could be, but I am not happy with the group company Upper Ganges. That has not posted good results. But still, my preference will be for Balrampur Chini, Triveni Sugar and Dwarikesh Sugar. These three are showing the best with a reasonable good capacity, and one could add the Dalmia Bharat Sugar also. They are already come out with the results. My interest could only be noted in the Triveni Sugar, but the same advice is given to my clients of the buying. but investments in Triveni Sugar. Yeah.
Okay, well, we need to get back and focus on the markets because it looks like it's going to be quite an ugly start, led by the global cues and the weakness that we are seeing. Both Japan and Hong Kong are down more than 500 points, and the Dow futures are also indicating that the start in that market could be quite ugly, so we are following suit. But let's tell you how you should trade today. Here are some of our bullseye participants. Okay, we'll go to them in a bit. Before that, Prakash Gaba, what are your top short? You were telling us about your short calls earlier in the day, but from the banking space, what would your top 2 or 3 shorts be as positional shorts for the series?
I would look at Bank of India. Basically, the PSU market certainly is looking weak to me, and Bank of India in particular looks weak that it can actually slide down to levels close to around 92 or even 90 zones. Have a stop, deeper stop above 105 and trade short. I was looking at even I would say Karnataka Bank. Here too looks like it's looking weak and it should slide on, but the stock that to watch is Oriental Bank. That can crack to levels even closer to around 100 zones. So it's weak, Oriental Bank. The PSU basket looks weak to me in the banking pack.
Okay, well actually even stocks like Ashok Leyland are in the red today after posting a fairly decent performance all through 2015. Even the December sales were good, Jan sales were good, but it's actually red all over. How many minutes do we have? Can we squeeze in one more question? Okay, well, it's about 30 seconds, so let's just wait by for the market opening itself. It's Kane, which is the biggest loser at this point in time, but followed by stocks which actually have weathered the fall in the previous months, like NTPC. When GAIL is down about 1.7%. So I think the logic of the market is take money if you find it. It's not just selling weak stocks, it's selling strong stocks as well, which explains the near 1% cut that the Nifty might start with. It looks like it will start with a sub 7,400 call. We're just waiting by for the opening tick on the Nifty. 7,400 looks like will be taken in the first call itself, and the Bank Nifty is the one which will lead. Okay, 7383 worse than we thought for the Nifty. It's 1% down and 1% down on the Sensex as well. Mid caps are keeping pace with a near 1% cut. The Bank Nifty is the worst performer with a 1.5% down tick. Biggest losers, Kane Vedanta, biggest loser, closely followed by all the banks. Bank of Baroda, ICICI, SBI, all of them down over 2% as I speak, and the losses are actually mounting. The Bank Nifty is down, as I told you, 1.5%. Maruti Suzuki has also lost 2%. Tata Steel is down 2%. So the top 10 stocks are just everybody. Commodities and banks are taking it in the neck primarily, but there is also the Maruti and the Power Grids in the top 10 list of losers as well, BHEL. So there's really no place to hide. If you are a defensive, people are taking money off you, so Power Grid is seeing selling. Maruti, which had perhaps some preservation of profit on a year-on-year basis, is also seeing selling. Kane, Vedanta, the commodity stocks are taking it to the chin. Idea Cellular is down 2.5 now. ICICI Bank trammed enough, and now 200 looks in danger. 205, yeah, as close to that level as feared. Tata Motors down about 2%. What's next? ONGC down 1.5%. One shouldn't be surprised. IndusInd Bank as well has begun to lose. That's 1.5% down, and I think that's Amit Gupta's sell as well. Reliance down 1.4%. Ultratech down 1.4%. Tata Power down 1.1%. HDFC Bank, that mighty stock, also is down about 1%. It's easier to read the minor list of green stocks. Zee Entertainment, HUL and BPCL are up about 0.5% to 1/3%. Otherwise, absolutely no place to hide.
Oh yes, it's an ugly start, Lata. So now the mid-cap index, just look at the market breadth, 1:9 in favor of the declines. That shows you that there is a fear factor as far as the trading fraternity is concerned. A lot of stocks hitting fresh lows. Yesterday we told you about Interglobe Aviation. That one continues to hit a fresh low. Today we'll tell you about Inox Wind. That was one of the best performing debutants last year, and look at the stock today. It's hit a fresh low, 297. In the last 12 months it's gone from about about 500 to 297. So Inox Wind getting hit quite a bit. A lot of banks as well hitting new lows. Syndicate Bank, UCO Bank, IOB, no surprises there.
So yeah, the stock to focus on is Crompton Greaves right now. We have not pointed that out yet.
15% lower.
Yeah, it's 15% lower. So let's just talk about that for a bit, because 16% gone in first trade. That easily is your stock of the day in the first trade.
Oh yes, it is, and a lot of, in fact, a lot of volumes piling up on Crompton Greaves as well. Suddenly, in just a span of 5 minutes, the volumes have piled up significantly on that particular counter. Apart from that, you have Tata Communications as well. That's reported weak numbers, so that stock too is down in the red. 6% gone on Tata Communications. On the upside, you have United Breweries, Torrent Power, Minda Industries, HSIL that have reported good numbers, but are just about doing okay in trade. Out Sugar as well, but otherwise the market has started off extreme. And yes, Crompton Greaves is your big talking point. 16% gone now on that stock.
Surprisingly, DLF is holding up now about 1.4% up, but I guess that's just for a brief period of short covering that you're seeing. Otherwise, in the green is also Sun Pharma, up about 0.5%. And then, as you pointed out, the good numbers, Minda Industries, Amara Raja are some of the stocks that are still in the green, but otherwise it's a sea of red. Anuj, first thoughts?
So the Bank Nifty is within 80 points of a new 52-week low. The Nifty is not, but the Bank Nifty is. So today we could have a new 52-week low on the Bank Nifty. That I think is going to be important. Lata, normally what happens is that yesterday a lot of smart money would have taken short positions because the market ended at low point. So there would be temptation for them to book something today, but so the market could recover a bit from the low point, but at that point you would see strong bears entering again. This is a market in which the strong bears would use all rallies to sell. So you've got to keep an eye on the market till 10 a.m. to see if the market keeps making lower intraday lows, and that becomes your reference point. If you start trading below that post 10 a.m., then you're looking for an ugly day. That could well happen. Led by again the Bank Nifty, because if it has to bounce, it has to bounce now within 80 points of a new 52-week low. And once again, mid caps, they are in for real smashing, as we have seen. Crompton Greaves, portfolios are being destroyed right now, and that's going to continue for some time, I think.
Okay, well, Sudarshan, you said that you would wait for the first 15 minutes to trade, but it looks like it's going to be 1%, not much respite. You can short even now?
That was a general idea. If the markets are not volatile, we would be willing to go short in the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. For the Bank Nifty, your stops are wide at 15,500, and for the Nifty at 7,500. There will be volatility, Anuj already referred to it. There could be sharp intraday bounces. You have to suffer that till your stop is not touched.
Okay. Well, just want to point out that it's almost a 20% fall now that you're seeing in Crompton Greaves. In fact, 18% the last time I checked. Mayuresh, we were discussing with Mr. Tulsian how weak these numbers are. But what do you do now with the stock? Because it's now trading, I think, sub 140 rupees. As an investor, what would your call be?
No, definitely not touching it, Sonia. And as I mentioned earlier as well, I think the performance has been weak and it has not met expectations for so many quarters. It doesn't seem like the slow industrial recovery that we're probably witnessing specifically in the power systems is going to recover anytime soon. So clearly, I think that aspect of the business is clearly getting hampered. The consumer business probably doing pretty okay. But clearly, if you look at the performance that Crompton Greaves has come out over the past few quarters, I think there is no respite on the operational front. Whether that's top line, your order book is declining, you're seeing margin compression happening, and that definitely is going to play in terms of how the cash flows or the stock are going to move. And clearly, I think I'm not going to see any respite happening at least for the next 2 to 3 quarters. So I think it's going to be a strong underperformer, not going anywhere near it.
Okay, Amit Gupta, if you can quickly take us through a couple of strategies, short on IndusInd Bank.
See, I think yes, if you look at the private banking outperformer so far, so my sense is I am clearly seeing the short positions coming into them, and they may be the draggers in the market right now, like IndusInd Bank or HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank 1050 is the level. If it comes below that, you will see more selling pressure coming into, and particularly IndusInd Bank, after the recent result announcement, we had seen that it had made a top around 940, and 940 calls, if you look at the last series, they were quite heavily written, and again that pattern is coming out in this particular series also. In fact, I think these positions will be come down to 900, and the stock may come closer to 870 or 865 kind of levels. It had made a low around 875 before the recent pullback, so it should breach that level looking at this particular pattern. In the open interest, 58% of short open interest we have already seen in the stock in the last 2 or 3 series. So that is why, because the banks are not performing, you can't keep that much of divergence between the stocks which are clearly falling at the lower end and the stocks which are still hanging at the higher end. So my sense is the higher end stocks will start now slipping because the market structure is not looking that kind of conducive right now.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that. Amit, we're actually being joined by... okay.
Pratibha Advani. Pratibha Advani, who is the CFO of Tata Communications.
Tata Communications nevertheless getting punished for the voice segment's weakness, and therefore the overall results slightly lower than expected. Yeah, back to the markets. At this point in time, there is a bit of a exhaustion of selling, but it is still below the 7,400 mark. Sudarshan, any fresh shots that you would take?
What happened, Lata, is that we had a big gap down. So apart from the shorts that we've talked about, and which are not really day trades, they have to be taken as a positional or a swing trading short. I think the best way of approaching this market is to step aside, because there is a 20-30% chance that this could only be a correction of that up move.
Okay, I just want to get the attention back to Crompton Greaves, because now it's down about 22% and I fear that this is a lack of disclosure situation as well that is hitting the stock. The sudden management change, as we know, the current MD will be stepping down immediately. Also, there's been no clarity on what the future roadmap of the international business will be. So we've seen the way some of these stocks like Interglobe have gotten hit because of lack of disclosures, and Crompton Greaves is the latest casualty in that particular ambit. So now down about 22%. Mr. Tulsian, you were talking about it earlier. Stripped off the fundamentals which are weak, the operational performance, how worried would you be about this, the fact that there's no clarity on a lot of the issues?
See, Sonia, I think you have touched very correctly. In fact, this is not confined only to Q3 numbers. This weakness of 22% in you have, rightly connected this with the Interglobe Aviation. See, nowadays people will not, or investors will not tolerate any kind of things, because sometimes, let me use the little harsh word, that management thinks that they are smart, and they can present the things the way they desire. Let me again reiterate on the Crompton Greaves only. Exceptional gain of 30 crores. You feel, okay, that may have come because of something, investment selling, subsidiary selling, unit selling, but people will not tolerate that this is a case of 500 gain and 470 crore loss. See the blotted figure. It's about 1,000 crore. They should have revealed that has been given in the footnote. But those things will not get tolerated, number one. Number two, this all subsidiary write-off. In fact, I touched that on the JSW Steel also. They don't come one fine day. In fact, they keep accumulating. They keep it under the carpet for quite some time. They allow their some surplus assets to get matured. The moment they realize that assets, they start writing that off. So people, in fact, investors and analysts, they keep a high hopes on the surplus assets held by the company, maybe in the form of real estates, maybe in the form of intercorporate investments, maybe in the form of the subsidiaries investments and all that. And suddenly you see that gain has come, but that gain has been taken away by one exceptional loss, which they have not been revealing, which have been in fact occurring for last maybe 2, 3, 4 years. That's not one day. It is not like an earthquake. It's not like a flood. It's not like a blast which has happened in the factory. So I think people are not going to tolerate, and I think this this corporate community must understand, including all the professionals involved therein, whether this is the auditors of the company or the independent directors, these kind of things will not get tolerated. And actually, let me tell you, I have not seen that kind of effect coming in JSW Steel, which we are bound to see happening there also, because as I said earlier also, 5,600 crore write-off, but the account says 2,100 crore write-off, consolidated loss of 923 crore. In fact, that's a loss of 2,700 crore, because tax credit cannot be taken as a net loss. So what my point is that overall corporate governance are not going to get tolerated, and we are seeing the effect of that, reflected into the share price of Crompton Greaves. See, the Indigo has not, recovered. You don't see that kind of beating happening in case of the SpiceJet and Jet Air, but see the Indigo. So probably these are the lesson, tough lessons having taught by the markets to these companies, those who take the extreme steps of hiding or not coming out clean on the corporate governance and disclosure.
Oh yes, we have enough problems battling slowdown. If over and above that, if one has to battle opaque reportage by the companies, it will not be tolerated. A word more from our chart experts. Rajat, any fresh short, or dare I ask, long ideas?
Well, I would like to try out one of the pariahs for the long side. that is ICICI Bank. In my reckoning, 200 would be a very strong support for ICICI Bank. Unless it falls below 200, at least 197 intraday or closing price basis 200, I would actually like to buy, because there is likely to be a pullback rally there. That's what I think. So this is strictly a small, relatively small position. And for the short side, I would like to take ONGC as short. 206 is my target and 215.75 is my stop loss.
Okay, so that's for ONGC. Prakash, anything in your radar now?
I think two shorts. Bharat Forge looks weak. It can slide down to levels closer to 776. I would have a stop about 819 on Bharat Forge, trade short. And second stock is Jain Irrigation. Looks weak to me. I think actually opened with a gap down, can slide down to levels closer to around 59. Stop about 62 should be just fine on Jain Irrigation.
All right, let's just focus on the markets for a bit. Still down about 230 points on the Sensex, and some of your biggest losers today are names like KN, Vedanta, BHEL and Idea Cellular. However, one stock that will be in focus right now is Escorts. So in a bit we'll start talking about Escorts. Very disappointing earnings coming in from the company. Tractor volumes were down about 16% year on year yesterday, and the auto ancillary and the construction business losses have widened. So in a bit we'll try and get you the management of Escorts as well. Mr. Tulsian, a quick word on this stock and how you would approach it?
Again, in fact, we get to see the monthly numbers, and they are so disappointing. So I don't think that one can really expect, one has really expected the better numbers from the company, because continuous decline on the monthly sales numbers of the Escorts, on the tractor front. So this and actually sometimes I wonder why the stock has really risen to a level of 160 rupees about 3-4 months back, when we have been continuously seeing the decline in the, or either flat or decline in the monthly sales numbers which we get regularly from these companies. Yeah.
Okay, we are still awaiting the Escorts management, because the numbers were pretty disappointing. As Sonia was telling you, it's down about 15%. Well, markets looks like for the moment have found a floor. We saw that 7385 number holding on the Nifty for a bit. So let's just get back to that Auto Expo and try and see if we can find any news of cheer over there. CNBC TV 18's Ranjoy Banerjee is in conversation with Raj Speth, the CEO of JLR. Let's go across and hear what he has to say. Okay. Coming back to the markets, actually there's a wee bit of recovery, or at least a stoppage of the hemorrhage. The markets are actually climbed back to 7,400 as I speak with you. That's about 15 points from the day's low that we have seen, not a whole lot at all. There is some bit of short covering coming of all things in Interglobe Aviation. It's clearly short covering, but for what it is worth, it's up 2.5%. Likewise, we are seeing some bit of short covering coming even in Jet Airways. Shalimar Paints is standing out in the green. Amara Raja is standing out in the green. Those are a few spots where we are seeing a bit of green, as we are seeing in DLF. That stock has held out, though everyone knows it's not an operationally strong quarter. No respite at all for Crompton Greaves. Continues to belabor with a 22% downtake. So bad performance. We'll try and see if you can do anything with that stock. Our experts are still with us. Prakash, trade on Crompton Greaves?
I think still is weak despite having such a big fall today. I would say that Crompton Greaves can actually slide down to levels close to 104. That's quite deep now. Crompton is trading around 131, so 104 is quite deep. Only thing, it will take its own sweet time for that, because any rallies that you may see would be shorting opportunities, because 155 is a stiff resistance on Crompton Greaves. So I would say short a bit. If it times up, short more, otherwise just let it slide down, have a deeper stop, and then maybe could see levels closer to 104 in the days to come.
Okay, well, just to brighten up the mood a little bit, Torrent Power has hit a fresh 52-week high today, post its good set of numbers. So that stock is sitting at 236. Before we move on, Sudarshan, any thoughts on how to approach Torrent Power? Any trade there?
No, I wouldn't do anything with Torrent Power. But Oro Pharma, which has been an outperformer, is now breaking down, and there's a short trade there. It's surprising because pharma stocks are now lending themselves to short trades. That's not a day trade. I don't think there are any significant day trades today. But it's a positional short. It does appear that lower levels are coming then, and if this is happening to one of the best pharma companies, there's a cause for worry.
Okay. Well, actually, there has been a bit of recovery even in some other pharmaceutical stocks like Sun Pharma. Is there a trade there, Sudarshan?
I wouldn't go long generally in this market today. It could be, if the recovery could be volatile, I mean it is possible because a lot of the decline was factored in yesterday itself by India while the world markets fell in the night. But the recovery may be fragile. It would not be a good idea.
All right. Sudarshan, thank you very much for staying on with us for such a long time and helping us with trading strategies. The markets at this point in time just about trying to reach 7,400, lingering or straddling that number. But even at 7,400, selling has come yet again. It's not able to even cross that threshold even for a few minutes. Well, we'll revisit stock trading strategies, but let's also look at some numbers. RPG Life Sciences is a stock in focus. Good numbers there. That stock is in the green. We are being joined by C.T. Ranganathan, the Managing Director of RPG Life Sciences. Mr. Ranganathan, morning.
All right, that's the word coming in from RPG Life. Thanks so much for joining. On that note, take a break on that note. It's still downbeat for the market, so no recovery at all. About 1% gone on the mid caps and almost 1% gone on the front liners as well. But more earnings on the other side. Kapil Agarwal, the Joint Managing Director of UFO Movies, will join in to talk about this quarter.
Renault Passion for Life presents Headlines of the Day. Brought to you by Renault Passion for Life.